Ow, alright, I'm up. Oh, it's a Saturday. Oh Jesus, I'm still blonde. Best check today's wedding schedule. Oh no, not bloody Corona still. Now what am I gonna do? Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe. I thought now would be the perfect time to show you what is in my camera bag, considering that I've got nothing to do for the next 3 to 4 months. Okay, let's get started with the camera. So this is the Panasonic S1. It's basically the full frame equivalent of their Micro Four Thirds camera, the GH5, which I absolutely loved. I shoot on 2 of these all day at a wedding, one mounted on the DJI Ronin-S and then the other one on a tripod. And basically these are the first full frame cameras from Panasonic. The reason why I love these cameras so much is the color science, the image quality, and the bit rate that you can shoot in. So with these cameras you can shoot in 10-bit, and that gives you so much more scope in terms of color grading in post-production. So these cameras, absolute beast. They do have a Panasonic S1H, which is like their Netflix approved cinema camera alternative. That's a little bit more expensive than these, but to be honest, it's a bit overkill for weddings and the kind of shoots that I do. But the video quality is still the same. It's absolutely lovely picture wise. This lens that I've got on here now is the 24-70 from Sigma. This is a new lens. It actually just came out for the Panasonic mount and the Sony mount as well. So this lens is perfect for the ceremony and the speeches, because sometimes you're going to a wedding, you don't know how big the space is that you're going to get. So you can actually then use this to zoom in, crop in a little bit if you want to, or get more of a wider shot to get the whole scene in. So normally I would just leave this one running at the back for the ceremony and speeches, and yeah, that just captures everything in full. And the image quality of this lens is really nice. I had the Panasonic version before. It's about twice the price pretty much, but yeah, this one for what I use is absolutely ideal. For me, Sigma art lenses are the perfect sort of compromise between the look of the lens and also budget. They're very budget friendly, and yeah, they're really, really nice. Okay, next up, more lenses. In my camera bag, I also have the Sigma 50mm 1.4. That is a beauty of a lens. That is, I can shoot a whole wedding on this lens. The background blur is just beautiful, renders so nicely. It's a 1.4, so it's really good for low light as well. I used to have the Panasonic S Pro 50 lens, which I absolutely loved, but again, double the price of this one, and literally can't see the difference in the image quality for video. So, as well as this 50mm prime lens, I'm also a huge fan of Sigma's new lens for Sony and Panasonic, which is the 35mm f1.2, which I'm actually shooting on now, so I can't show you, but that image is absolutely stunning. I've been using this lens pretty much since I bought it, and I don't need to change it at all. The great thing about the Panasonic S1 as well is that there's a crop feature. So even though I'm shooting at 35mm most of the day, if I need to get a little bit of extra reach, what I can do is actually just crop in, and then that will give me the equivalent of around 50. So I've basically got the best of 2 prime lenses on one camera, and I can just switch between the 2. So that is really handy as well, especially if you need to punch in for the ceremony or during speeches, just to get in a little bit closer. Works really, really well. One thing that is absolutely mandatory if you're shooting on prime lenses, especially outdoors, is an ND filter. So I use variable ND filters, and basically the front element of this lens filter is it's in 2 bits. It's basically like a pair of sunglasses over the front. You can twist that and let in more or less light. It's really important when shooting video that your shutter speed remains constant, otherwise you're going to get jaggedy bits. And the way that shutter speed works in video is if you set your shutter speed to double your frame rate, you're going to get that really nice cinematic motion blur. So that will really help your video look a lot more high-end as well. There are loads and loads of ND filters online. You can pay £20, you can pay £200. I tried the £200 ones, literally can't tell the difference in image quality. So this one here is a K and F concept one. It was like 20 quid off Amazon, and that's perfect for me. It just literally screws onto the front of your lens. You can leave it on pretty much all the time as well, but I would recommend taking it off for any night shots. So yeah, if you're filming a wedding reception and the dancing, definitely take it off for that. Essential videographer accessory, a bum bag. This bum bag was from Primark, it was like £4. Always got to keep your ND filters and lens caps nearby, so grab yourself a little bum bag. In terms of sound, so sound is really important, but at live events like weddings, you just don't know what the setup's going to be, so you need to be able to react really quickly, get some sound recorder set up in a matter of seconds. So what I recommend for sound is these tiny little sound recorders that are made by Sony. So these are the Sony TX650s. These are about 79 to 80 pounds, and they are just a tiny little sound recorder. They don't accept a microphone input or anything, but they are just really good little clip-on microphones, and you literally just turn them on, press record, done. So what I would normally do during a ceremony is I would clip this into the groom's pocket, or if the registrar or celebrant is reading from a clipboard, you can even clip that onto the clipboard and have it facing up so that you can capture both the sound of the registrar, the bride and the groom. So reading the vows is really easy. You just turn it on, as long as the red light's flashing, you're done. What is really important though is to make sure you keep your eye on it, because I have lost these a couple of times. They're so small, sometimes the registrar can go home with them. I had one time where it ended up on a table and the catering staff bundled up the tablecloth and then it was in the washing machine. But yeah, I managed to save it just in time. So yeah, keep your eye on these because they're very small and they can go walkabouts. So the best way that I capture sound for speeches is I take a roll of electrical tape and I just tear a little bit off, tape it around this little thing and take that to the actual microphone that they're using at the venue, and that way you're going to get pretty much decent audio whether or not they're holding it right up to their face or if they're holding it down by their waist. Again, make sure that doesn't go walkabouts because sometimes they're easy to forget and you end up leaving them at the venue. But yes, electrical tape, essential accessory to take with you. In terms of colours and actually monitoring your footage whilst you're recording, the monitor on the back of your camera isn't ideal for monitoring your exposure and your white balance. Sometimes it's not going to look completely accurate as to when you put it back onto the computer. I use the Atomos Shinobi. I also use the Atomos Ninja 5, which is an external recorder. I don't tend to record so much externally. With this little monitor here, it actually has an SD card slot, so it means you can load your LUTs directly onto the monitor, so you can actually see like a live view of what your graded footage is going to look like, which is really helpful because sometimes your LUTs might be a little bit warmer, might be a little bit cooler. It might adjust the exposure slightly, adding a bit more contrast in. So by monitoring your output live on this monitor, you can get an accurate representation of what the picture is going to look like. You can then expose it correctly without loading your colours on afterwards and being like, it doesn't look right. So yeah, Atomos Shinobi, really handy. These are, I think these are like £300–400. The Ninja is a little bit more, that's about £500 mark. And then obviously if you want to be recording with that, then you need the an SSD, which is like another 150 quid. So it does all add up, but if you can get the best looking image, then that is a no-brainer. So in terms of gimbal, I have always loved the DJI Ronin-S. I mean, yeah, it's heavy, and then with my camera on top, it is even heavier. And every wedding I go to, the guests always say, oh, that looks like a very heavy bit of kit. And I'm like, yeah, it is very heavy. So this is my Ronin-S right here. And obviously it's got the tripod base built in. So if you want to set it down on the floor or on a table just to get some steady shots, you can pop it down like that. The handy thing about this dual pistol, I think it's called the dual pistol grip from DJI, is that it's got this NATO rails built in underneath. So you can actually mount your monitor directly on here. So I just literally screw. So that literally just screws in like that. And then I can see my footage live exactly how it's going to look in post, which is really nice. One thing that I would just be careful of with this particular extra grip is that these handles can unscrew very easily. So make sure when you're holding it, this has happened to me a few times, that you sort of have a good grip on it, because it can just come unscrewed like that. I've got another one as well just over there as a backup, just in case this one breaks, but it's never let me down. So yeah, it's very, very heavy, all fully loaded up with all of the batteries and the camera, but it's really, really reliable, and yeah, it just gives me the shots that I need for my wedding. So yeah, it's perfect. One last thing is drone. So I used to use the DJI Inspire series for my aerial footage, but since DJI brought out the tiny weeny little Mavic Pro 2, this drone is incredible. It is pretty much just as good as the Inspire that I had. It's really light, really discreet, because a lot of wedding venues, they worry about it causing too much noise or upsetting their neighbours, but literally you can hardly even hear this once it's in the air. Obviously, if you're booking a videographer for your wedding that does offer drone, you need to make sure that they do have the correct paperwork from the Civil Aviation Authority as well. Otherwise they shouldn't really be flying it. But this little drone is absolutely perfect. It is really small and light, and the image quality is amazing given the size. Not every venue is right for drone use, but for those in the countryside or big manor houses, you can really get some nice cinematic shots with these. So that, guys, is what's in my camera bag. A couple of cameras, a couple of microphones, tripod, few lenses, and yeah, that's it, keeping it small and simple. So thanks again for watching, and you can check out more of my videos on my YouTube and IGTV channels.